Matt LaFleur talking about a delicate situation that has landed in the laps of the Green Bay Packers. And you can almost see the gears of his brain turning.
He's trying to
chooses
not
words
say the wrong
carefully.
thing. Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? He knows he is diffusing a bomb here potentially, or at least trying not to accidentally spill gasoline on the embers of a fire that could rage at any moment. Because, look, the contract that the Packers gave to Aaron Rodgers gives him a ton of power. And they were able to nudge Brett Favre away when they were ready to do it. They are going to have a very delicate time getting Rodgers out if they want to pivot to Jordan Love. And I think how they handle this final stretch of the season with Rodgers and Love, with Love looking pretty damn good when he played, limited time, and who knows how much of it is just a factor of they don't know anything about him, and the Eagles were up 14, and they're just kind of letting their guard down a little bit.
Sure, all of that.
Love was throwing piss missiles. He was throwing some piss missiles.
He
Chris.
looked good.
It's a delicate thing, and the Packers have already painted themselves into the corner. They just have to stay there and let Aaron Rodgers make the decisions. They've already given him that power. They can't risk playing a game with him where he decides, I'm not leaving. I've got fully guaranteed contract. I'll be back next year and make my fully guaranteed money. I'll come back the year after that if I want to. You can't stop me. You can cut me, and I'll just go take my money, and I'll just not play. I'll do like Clay Matthews when he was cut by the Rams. Oh, other teams want me? Nah, I won't play. I'll just take the money that you've owed me. This is great. This is a great severance package. So they're in a tough spot. And Rodgers said after the loss to the Eagles, where he left with, they called it an oblique, but it clearly wasn't. It was a rib injury. I don't know how they got oblique. He's got a rib injury, and he thought his lung was punctured. He said he wants to keep playing until they're mathematically eliminated. Now, I didn't get a lot of conviction in his voice when he said it. And, you could be mathematically alive until week 18 and have no chance as a practical matter. Yeah, I'm mathematically alive if this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, and we win. But it ain't going to happen. Like, at what point do you just pull the plug on this, Chris? That's the real question.
Yeah, well,
and the Packers know it's not their decision.
No, well,
they've already surrendered it to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, well, that's the bet they made. I mean, they made that bet a long time ago. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's the Packers, like we've talked about for years. When the Packers are coming to town, and they didn't even get top billing. Aaron Rodgers and the freaking Packers are coming to town. Because that's the way they set it up, let alone he's awesome. But we've talked about this. This is what happens when you make quarterback king and you don't have an owner and those type of things that we've discussed, into great detail. And yet they're not out of it. And Rodgers, to Matt LaFleur's point, has played through a lot of injuries through time and carried them through and been awesome. So they can't, disrespect that. He is still the lifeblood of their team, even though, hey, there's things we all want to question about his play, some of his attitude, maybe attendance in the offseason. All of that is justified to have a conversation about it, but he is still the quarterback of their football team, and they're still in it with him. And, they gotta be delicate here a little bit. They do. And we'll see. They might be mathematically eliminated after this week, and maybe that's when they turn the corner here. Rodgers does love playing football. We know that. We've never seen him turn down or I'm going to wait another week and not play and let my body get healed after injury. As soon as he can play, he gets out there. We can't argue that. And this is a tricky injury, though, Mike, because, you mentioned the oblique and all that stuff, right? The oblique kind of connects to that bottom part of the ribs. And that's where you can be a little – I've had both. I've had the issue of the cartilage in between the ribs, the intercostal muscles, they call them. And that can be, you like that? I'm a doctor. And also the oblique, which
well done.
which is hard for a thrower. Of course, it's that rotation we talk about so much, and that's where it really affects you. So, yeah, they got to be delicate, Mike, to your point. This is a tricky one.
I will acknowledge that there is some possibility that you just made up the word intercostal. I am just impressed because it sounds
I don't think I did.
And you delivered it with authority.
Yeah, thank you. I did.
Done.
It was. I'm pretty sure that's what the doctor called that damn muscle when I heard it way back when. So I think I'm right there.
I I thought of you when Aaron Rodgers went to the locker room on Sunday night because my first impulse was paging Dr. Needle.
Yeah, right.
Needle.
He'll be back in. Dr. Needle. They got to call him. He's going to get that needle in there, and he'll be back out there. I thought we were going to see him again, too. I did not think it would be, night for Aaron Rodgers in that one.
And look, all kidding aside, you're right. The guy wants to play, especially if he senses this may be it. And when he says in June, he thinks about retirement all the time. And we've talked about this. Is it possible that this season goes so poorly overall? It leaves such a bad taste in his mouth.
Yeah.
He doesn't want it to be his last act. I think back to, and Matt Casey made this point when Miles Simmons and I were talking about it last Monday. He texted the idea that, look, or it was Friday. It may have been the Friday before. Either way, I think it's all. This whole season's just a blur. The point is this: 2006 was a horrendous year for Brett Favre. He came back and had one of his best seasons. in 2007, up until the overtime of the Giants game. When I still remember that image of, three guys open. And he threw it to the one guy who was covered in overtime for the interception, and the Giants won the game. But he had a great year in 2007. So all those things, all those experiences from early in Aaron Rodgers' career will be a factor in how his last days of his time with the Packers unfold.
Well,
I want to see what Jordan Love can do if I'm a Packers fan.
Yeah, I hear you.
Aren't we at that point? Hey, he's got a broken thumb. He's got a rib issue. Yeah, he's the starting quarterback, but we talk about this all the time. It was the Cooper Rush, Dak Prescott thing. Not that Cooper Rush was going to be the new starter, but you have the luxury when Cooper Rush is playing well that you don't have to push quarterback who is, from a health standpoint, here. You can let him get a little bit higher. You can get him. You don't have to play through that injury. You don't have to play through that pain. We're fine with backup at 100%. That's the analysis that the Packers need to go through. I just think they know nothing good comes out of it because the moment Aaron Rodgers senses any threat to his status, he's going to get pissed, and then you got to deal with that.
Yeah, well, I think everything you said there is real. I do, and yeah, that's why it is delicate. I do think, by the laws of football, and like we talk about all the time with a guy of his status and everything he's done and all the pelts on the horse and the wall and everything, that if he feels he can play, you let him play, right? But, okay, wait, we're mathematically eliminated and you're banged up? All right, Aaron, let's sit down. How do you want to approach this? What do you want to do? They better be delicate here, because you're right. He's got a lot of power in this situation. And I don't know, Mike, yeah, if they do want to, get out of the Aaron Rodgers business and start to move on with life here, they got to make sure things kind of end the right way and he's happy. In a lot of ways, if the year ends kind of bad with a bitter taste in his mouth and things like that, I think that's going to motivate him a little bit more to man, I don't want to go out like that. I'm going to come back one more time here. Where if you were trying to, part ways with him, if you can squash that sense of feeling from Rodgers, maybe he goes, okay, wait, whatever. I got the 2 MVPs, the 2 year, the year before I retired. I played great, blah, 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 and it's over. So, that's why they got to be very careful here to not make them the biggest offseason drama in sports once again.
But there's a new dynamic that has been thrust into the broader equation for the Packers. In the past, it was, will Aaron Rodgers want to be traded or will he retire?
Yeah.
Now they have to worry about, they really don't want him anymore. They wish he would retire.
Yeah, right.
But because of his contract, he just says, deal with me.
Yeah.
And if you want to cut me, that's fine. But all that guaranteed money in my contract, it was all set up that he could walk away whenever he wanted to. And if he decided to play, he gets paid. But it isn't structured for the Packers to say, we're done.
No.
We're ready to move on. And now they got a separate issue. They may wish that he would retire. They may wish that he would want to go play for another team. The worst case scenario for them is to be ready to move on to Jordan Love, but Aaron Rodgers to say, I'm here and you owe me this money. You either let me play and pay me, or I'll go home and you pay me. That is a new factor that the Packers are going to have to wrestle with.
Yeah.
Now, and after the season.
Yeah, no, I'm agreed. And again, Mike, I think we're both in agreement here. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is done. I don't look at it and go, oh, he's washed up. Does he need to play better? Yes, definitely. Does he need to stop looking at the pass rush and looking for the first available 1-yard throw? Yes, definitely. I've never seen him go through a year like this. I saw snippets last year and the year before.
It's his thumb, though. Maybe his thumb really is, in a bad spot, and he's just trying to avoid getting it hit again.
I don't disagree with that too, and maybe there is some of that. My only problem is even before the thumb, we were seeing some of these issues, and some of them I just go, it doesn't matter, thumb, no hand, whatever. You throw this ball, the guy's open, and you got a great pocket. So, and then, again, too, the thumb and all that, they weren't issues when he was throwing lasers and bombs to Christian Watson 2 weeks ago against the Cowboys, but then we lay an egg on Thursday night, and then all of a sudden it's an issue again.
Yeah.
So I got to, listen, I'm going to call it the way it is. Hey, bombs, hey, we're all good. Oh, struggle against the Titans. Hey, thumb hurts. Oh, okay. So, but my main point I wanted to get to here is, they're stuck with Aaron Rodgers and whatever he wants to do here. This is part of the Jordan Love. You pissed Aaron Rodgers off. You gave him the motivation to go win MVPs and stick it where the sun don't shine. And now he got the power back, and you got to kind of live with it here. But what they need to do at some point is just, even if he does decide to come back, is something you've always said, Mike. He's got to be there in the offseason, all offseason. They got to be there for the reasons where LaFleur can show them a play against the Titans and go, you got to throw this. You're Aaron freaking Rodgers. You're the man. He's open. Throw it. You got to start pushing those buttons. I always told you about that year I was there in New England with Brady, right? He was the worst down the field thrower in football. All the Patriots were about in the offseason and the OTAs. Keep throwing it downfield, Tom. Keep doing it. Don't worry about the 5-yard throw. We'd like you to just keep pushing it. So they were pushing him, pushing his buttons, pushing it to the offense, and that made them better. And, he got better, and they ended up beating the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. That's where they need to get Rodgers. Rodgers needs to be all in, too. And that's an issue, and I know you brought that up time and time again, and you're spot on with that.
Well, and I even got Peter King to come around because we had argued about it several weeks ago on a Friday show, and the day after the loss to the Titans, he agreed that they need to go to him and say, if you're going to come back this year, we need you to be all in.
Yes.
We need you to connect. Look at where you finally got to with Christian Watson. The reason it didn't happen sooner is you weren't around. You weren't there to make the connection, to get to him to the level of comfort. You're at the level of comfort. He needs to get to the level of comfort. You need to think about him. You need to think about how wide-eyed he's going to get when Aaron Rodgers walks into the room.
Yep.
And I don't know this guy. I haven't spent time with this guy. He's a guy I literally grew up watching on my television as I dreamed of coming to the NFL. And here he is in the flesh. Aaron Rodgers never really seem to get it or care about it. And the thing about the thumb, too, I'm a lot of things. I freely admit it. Not that that makes it any better. I'm not stupid. It's obvious to me that this was a concerted Rodgers and people close to him effort to get the word out that his thumb is broken.
Yeah.
Because we didn't hear a damn thing about a broken thumb from week 5 until the aftermath of the loss to the Titans, when he missed a wide open Sammy Watkins with the game still in the balance, sailed the ball over Alan Lazard, got booed after both plays by the home fans. That's when we start hearing broken thumb, and then avulsion fracture. The ligament tore off a piece of the bone. It's amazing he's still playing. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Oh, we're not worthy of having you in our presence in any way, shape, or form. All of that's coming out after he looked like crap against the Titans on that Thursday night. As you said, 4 days earlier, he's throwing it all over the place. The thumb's not an issue against the Cowboys. So there's a little bit of this showmanship, a little bit of the Ben Roethlisberger, a little bit of the it's not my fault. And I felt like before Sunday night, this was just a matter of at the right time, he's going to go on injured reserve. And you can say mathematically eliminated. You can say, okay, I see the scenario here. We're not mathematically eliminated, but we're done. At that point, I think that's when he goes on IR, and that's where the Packers are being, I think, very careful, because I think they know that's where it's going, but if he senses that they're trying to push him to accelerate the timeline, that's when he says, screw you. Whew, that was close. That's when he says, screw you, I'm not going anywhere. This year or next year or the year after.
Agreed. Sorry, I didn't. I was typing someone in the group here in our sheets here. But either way, I agree with you there. They got to be careful. It's delicate here, and if they piss him off the wrong way, he's going to make life miserable on them. So, and I agree with your point there that if they he gets a sense they're trying to push him. Hey, sit down for the year, do all that. That's only going to make things uncomfortable for the rest of the season and the off season. So. Yeah, they got to be smart here.
Is this you typing this might be a no? Is this what you were?
I was typing
this might be a no?
No, I was writing this might be – we got so many good things to talk about, and I was looking at our rundown. I know we're running long. I was going, this might be a day with no draft. Like, we might have to squash the draft because we got some things here that I know we got to unpack more, and I don't want to cheat these subjects. So that's where I was just getting worried about that.
Well, that's good. That's good. I appreciate the fact that you're sensitive to the – clock, although, the show ends when the show ends. The question is, how much good stuff can we cram into the time that we have available? And we've made the decision on the fly to put a pin in the Jets quarterback discussion so we can properly land the plane on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge for the Packers, to properly land the plane that is Aaron Rodgers. And you could just see it. I could feel it. The tension, the stress with Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
Because he knows he is in a delicate, difficult spot here. No sudden moves. Watch what you say. Don't upset Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers has so much power that they gave to him. And the one thing I don't think they ever thought of is the possibility that he would want to stay beyond the point at which they would want him.
Yes. And again, Rodgers, I don't look at a guy and go, oh, it's over. It's not like I look at him and go, oh, this is Matt Ryan. Like Matt Ryan, I'm sorry for everybody out there, and I have great respect for Matt Ryan's career, but it's over. It's over. I mean, he had to do on that last drive. He had to throw it with everything he had to throw a post route 27 yards down the middle of the field. Right? I mean, when Michael Pittman had to stop at 25 yards, it was like, wait, I'm supposed to go deep. I got to come back to get a 24-yard post route. So, but Rodgers still has the physical tools. Is he going to be able to carry the team like he used to? That's where it's a little different this year. We're used to seeing a guy where, oh, wait, there's an injury here and this and that. Oh, it doesn't matter. Rodgers just sit back there and zing, zong, zong, and do all this, and then everything will be good. It doesn't matter. It's Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Hey, we don't care that they can't play defense. They're a Super Bowl contender because they got Aaron Rodgers. But those days are done. And that's where they need him to be all in, because he needs to be there to support the team, and they got to figure out the right way to play with him going forward and everything going that way, let alone you're right about the growth with the receivers. And, yeah, I don't care what you say. That growth would have been farther along if he was there in the offseason. There's no doubt. And now you're seeing, yeah, they're comfortable with each other, and Christian Watson's setting records, right? He's like, the first rookie receiver ever to have 6 touchdowns in 3 games or something like that. It's something pretty remarkable. But, yeah, this is we know this. And this is, again, if I'm Green Bay, the biggest thing is just, can you not have drama in the offseason? Can you not be like the number one story other than the Washington Commanders for, everyday drama? And that should be one of their goals too if they want to improve as a football team.
And the reality is, we may see just enough of Jordan Love that you begin to get the clamoring. And that's where the Packers organization can't control this. That's where the owners of the team may decide to start making their voices heard. We want Love. We want Love. If they just decide, we've had enough drama with Aaron Rodgers, we've had enough Willie or Woney, it's Brett Favre all over again, let's get this guy out of here, and let's let Jordan Love do what you traded up in round 1 of the 2020 draft to see him do. And we saw just enough on Sunday night. I'm telling you, if I'm a Packers fan, I want more Jordan Love at this point.
Yeah.
I want to see what he can do.
That's fine.
Why not figure it out now? Let's figure it out now. Let's get him reps. Kenny Pickett, let's get him reps. Let's let the game slow down.
Sure.
He'll be better off in 2023 if we get him reps now. I mean, this season's over. let's get this guy ready for next year. That's my position if I'm a Packers fan, and I suspect most Packers fans would agree.
Yeah, well, I like that, and I understand it. I'd love to see him too, but at the same time, again, you got a guy that, you got to be careful with, and also I don't know if next year really matters about what Jordan Love looks like. If that's the case and they really want to move on with Aaron Rodgers, they're going to have to make it look like, hey, they're going to have to sell to him that maybe you should go somewhere else and you'd be better off somewhere else. You'd be better off. And also on top of that, and they're also going to have to help find the trade partner and make sure they can sell it to him that this is a good team and a really good situation, and it's got to be all happy that way. So they got to if they want to do that, they got a lot of things they're going to have to juggle here, because they're going to have to set it up to make sure, okay, wait, we want to go Jordan Love, but here's a spot for you that makes sense for you and it's good and they're going to pay you money and all of that. That's got to be part of the conversation too, and they're going to have their work cut out for them if that's the case.
Here's the bottom line. They did this 15 years ago with Brett Favre. They had to come up with a way to separate. And Brett Favre is a dog and Aaron Rodgers is a cat. And that's what you're dealing with. The difference between the two species when you're trying to figure out how best to get this guy to go. Now, the problem is the dog that they ran off came back and crapped all over the place until they found him a new home. But what they did in February of 2008, I still believe to this day, was calculated by Ted Thompson and Mike McCarthy. They went to Favre and they said, we need to know right now what you're going to do. Because they knew if they said, we need to know right now, he's going to say, well, I retire. If I have to tell you right now, I'm going to retire. Aaron Rodgers is going to see, he's going to be ready for any games. He's going to be on guard. He's going to be playing the games. That's why I say one's a dog and one's a cat. They got themselves a predicament. And it's, hey, they're paid good money to figure it out. But, Chris, they got themselves a predicament with Aaron Rodgers. With that new factor of what if he wants to stay and we're ready for him to go, which was never a factor the past few years. It was all about, oh, God, Aaron's great now. He's MVP. We don't want him to go. We don't want him to go. We want him to stay. It could be that by February they want him to go and he wants to stay, and they got themselves a mess.
Yeah. No,
if he decides, I'm digging in my heels, I don't want to leave, I'm staying and I'm playing, or you're paying.
Yeah, and there's nothing they can do. That's where they are. So that's where again, the word delicate is extremely important to this conversation. And yeah, I think there's a lot of things that could go on between now and then, and yeah, we'll see where they go with their thought process and what they want to do and where he wants to go too. That's, of course, going to be a big part of this conversation too. So we'll see. But it's the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. It's even though they're 4-8, here we are. We're talking about them, and they seem to dominate the conversation a lot. Probably a little too much for my liking. Probably a little too much for their own liking, honestly, with how much that we discuss this topic.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.